Welcome. Thank you for joining the Live in Divine Harmony podcast. I'm Carmen, your divine synergist of Heart's Joy. I'm a spiritual leader of purpose and a numerologist. I help those who are turned off by church, who are seeking connection, fulfillment, joy, and purpose, who may be feeling frustrated instead of experiencing joy daily. They want to fit in and will do anything to feel good, but it's not authentically who they are or what they want. Through coaching programs and events, I guide my clients to live their purpose and live intentionally every day, leading to a fulfilled and joyful life. Thank you for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and hit that bell for notifications so you never miss another episode. Let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Live in Divine Harmony podcast. This week, we're going to talk about balance. What is balance? Does balance really exist? And if it doesn't exist, then how do you find balance in your life? That's typically what I hear. And I hear it not just from clients, I hear it just in normal conversations with people. My favorite, tongue in cheek when I say that, is when I hear, I'm just so busy. I'm too busy. I just don't have the time. And listen to the words that I'm using because I'm using those words on purpose. I used to struggle with time. I used to struggle with finding this balance. And typically, when we talk about balance, it comes up about when we talk about our day. A lot of people will say, I would like more time in my day or my week, or if I just had another hour, or how can I do everything? Which you can't because you're not Superwoman, Wonder Woman. That's who I grew up with. Honestly, I grew up thinking that I needed to be Wonder Woman, thinking that I needed to do everything and be everything to everyone. And that's a myth. It's not possible. It's just you're going to be who you're going to be. Part of the reason why we say these phrases is because we are choosing to pack our schedule. We're choosing to pack our calendar. And it's truly a choice. It is a choice that we've made. And there's a difference between saying, I'm sorry I didn't contact you or I didn't reach out because I'm just too busy versus, hey, you take ownership. Look, I packed my calendar. I overbooked myself. I apologize. And you can either say once things smooth out, or let's go ahead and get something on the calendar now for a few weeks out. That's different than when you blame it on an outside force that, oh, I'm just so busy. I'm too busy. Well, you actually chose your schedule. No one else makes your schedule for you but you. And so when you make a choice and you take ownership for it, that changes everything. It changes everything for you and the person you're talking with. It changes really how you're showing up. And you've literally shifted your energy frequency from a victim to responsibility to taking ownership. Because now you're saying, hey, I did this thing. I apologize. I'm working on unraveling it. And you actually do mean something to me. Because a lot of times, and I used to say it all the time, oh, I'm just so busy. Think about how that other person felt. And the one reason why I want to talk about this topic right now is because it's difficult to live your purpose and to live intentionally. You aren't living intentionally at all when you are, one, not taking responsibility or ownership. And two, when you are scheduling yourself and packing your schedule and packing your calendar full, because you're probably doing things that are quote unquote expected of you, required of you. Yes, there are those things. So how do you not pack your calendar so full? How do you find the harmony throughout your days? Because it is possible. I used to work full time. in corporate land. I had a part-time hustle at some time. Sometimes I had multiple part-time hustles. I used to sell pretty light candles. I've done all sorts of MLMs. I used to volunteer at church, which honestly, volunteering at church was kind of like a part-time job in a way that I didn't get paid for because I was there so much. And any local organization that you volunteer for, that tends to be the case because you're volunteering your time. You're saying, yes, I believe in this organization, so I'm going to gift my time to them. You want to spend time with friends and family, and then you end up at the end of the day burnt out because you haven't spent any time with God. You haven't spent, excuse me, any time with yourself, with anything that you've truly enjoyed doing. And I literally hit rock bottom. And I had hit rock bottom multiple times. And it wasn't until at one point I finally said, I'm not doing this anymore. Like I started to see the patterns in my life. And I thought, I'm not doing this anymore. This is exhausting and it's not doing anyone any good. I'm not 100% fully all in on anything. And I'm, 70% here, 50% here. And what is really happening? And during that time, when I finally said, I'm not doing this anymore, it was several years ago. And I was already a few years into my healing journey. And I had already uncovered a lot about myself, who I am, what my triggers were, what did I really want out of life, what I wanted, not what someone else expected from me. And I started to ask myself, why am I packing my schedule so full? It's not helping me accomplish my goals. And I had started to learn the concept of win-win, which a lot of us, we don't know that concept. We've not heard of it before because we've been taught a win-lose. That's what we've been taught everywhere in society in our lives, win-lose, or a challenge, which is why I don't give challenges anymore. Sometimes it feels like a challenge working with me, and it's simply you're stretching yourself outside your comfort zone because I'm asking you to do something different that you've not done before. Around that time, I was getting invited to at least 3 to 5 events a day. Now, clearly, this was before 2020, because, I feel like everything's hybrid now, or, hey, it's via Zoom. It just looks very different. And this was 3 to 5 events a day, Sunday through Saturday. And I felt like I had to be everywhere all the time, and I flat out couldn't do it. And think about this too. If you are a parent, and even if you have a partner helping you, you both are potentially working full-time jobs, you're parenting, the kids have activities, probably not old enough to drive yet. And even if they are, it does take the load off a little bit. There's still other expectations and responsibilities you have, though, as a parent. And then if you decide that you want to do a side hustle or and transition, which I highly recommend doing, and not just dropping your job cold turkey and doing the other. And then if you have a local organization that you're a part of, it can feel like you're in a vice and it just keeps getting squeezed tighter and tighter and tighter. And it's like, holy cow, what do I do? And you're not really present, really intentionally present for any of the things that you're doing. And it almost feels like, in a way, that your calendar is getting sucked up, I would say, into a tornado, is kind of what it feels like. Because especially when the kids are in activities and sports, and I laugh when I look back at 2020, how everything came to a halt and we were all being, in my opinion, asked, like, really, what matters? What matters to you? Um, does it really matter that the kids are in 3 different sports at the same time? Like, one of your children, let's say you have 3 kids, one of your children is in sports, 3 different sports at the same time. Is that really gonna make a difference in the long run? Um, And I remember I had a friend who even shared on social media. She was like, yeah, I'm starting to realize what really matters to me and my family, and how different things are going to be for her and her family when things do finally open up. And so I'd like for us to start getting back into that headspace. What really matters to you? Are you saying yes to an event, to saying yes to your kids for sporting, and really it's not something that maybe they really want to do, it's something you want them to do as a parent? I'm going to share with you 4 questions that I started to ask myself before I would respond to an event. And this helped me at that time to really say, did I want to go to that event or not? If you have FOMO, then why do you have FOMO, right? So that's something to look at as well, and something to do some healing work around. And if you feel like you sometimes it's not FOMO, but it's like you get validation from being there. Okay, that's also something to look at, do some healing work around. And when I say healing work, I have people I can send you to, someone in particular I'm happy to send you to do her work. I'm doing her work. It's phenomenal. Let me go ahead and share the 4 questions with you. So I would look at, oh, before I do want to say this. Sometimes I do, I feel like, okay, I need to go show my face at this event. And normally, when I say that or feel that, it's because it has to do something about my business. I need to be there for my business, or there's somebody who I'm supposed to meet or interact with, and it's going to help me grow on a personal level. And so that leads me into these questions. So the first question I ask myself is this going to be making me money? Is it going to be making me money? Second question is this event helping my business grow? The third question is this event helping me spiritually? There are things that I listen to my intuition. Is it in my on my highest path for me to attend or not? And that's one of the questions I ask anyway. Jesus, show me my highest path, or show me what am I doing today that's on my highest path. Because a lot of times we make decisions based on other factors that really aren't healthy for us. Let me give you the last question I would ask myself to determine if I'm going to go to an event, which would be, will this bring me joy? And I feel like the last one, will this bring me joy? It can encompass a lot of things because there's a lot of different things that bring you joy. And I do volunteer for a local organization where when I first graduated back in 2019, I came back and I did a lot for them and I got burned out. And I still wanted to do something. So I stayed in contribution at least twice a year. And then that's it. And they know it. I know it. Now, from time to time, I do help out behind the scenes. That's different though, because the behind the scenes is normally on my time. And it's when I choose to do that, normally given a deadline, versus, hey, you've made a commitment to be back in a 5-day class or be back in a 90-day class. That's a little different. So now let's flip this and put this in context for those of you who have children. Because I do see families who the kids are enrolled in a lot of different activities and at the same time, which I think is great for them. And what's that going to look like for you and your family? So how can you find the win-win with that you've got 3 different kids. It's just an easy example because I know a lot of families have 2 to 3 kids. So you've got 3 kids and they're each in a different activity or sport. And so then how can you, I don't even want to say juggle, but how can you create a win-win with attending those? And maybe it's you attend all of them or you attend, you and your partner take turns attending them. And you incorporate that with the rest of your life as well. Because you're more than a parent. That is a label, that's a role that you're playing right now. And it's not who you are. And you still want to show up for your children. So again, it goes back to understanding what a win-win is and how can you create that in your life. Now remember, this whole topic is balance because I even have a family member who went from telling me how much they did not have the time for me to they have created the time for me now. And they are very busy and their life has dramatically changed as well. And yet, because our relationship has shifted, now they are making time. They're creating time. You call it making time. I call it creating time because you can create time. They're creating time to connect with me in their own way. And I see that and I honor that. So, how can you create a win win in your life? Because your win win is going to look different than my win win. And I will share with you that as I started to answer those questions, that actually helped me to get back on track and start focusing on my goals. And I'm there again where it's like, okay, I've been there for a lot of people to help them. It could be personally, professionally. And so now, how do I get back to what I'm doing with my business? Which, by the way, I'm in the middle of rebranding. We're getting back to the basics. It took me a little bit to get here. And remember, as we shift uh, on a soul level, then so do our lives, are in our what I call our outer world. And having clarity, no matter what area of your life, because there are multiple areas, by the way. It's something we talk about in the masterclass, which will be a retreat here coming up. And once you have clarity, then that shifts everything for you. The other thing that's happening that it almost feels like, oh my gosh, how do I find balance? Because when you think of balance, you normally think of the pieces of pie. I've got to spend this much time. I only have so many hours in the day, and and now you've thrown yourself into victim. And so that plus we're constantly being bombarded with incoming information, with meetings, with text messages from people who want immediate responses, which, by the way, notifications for my emails have been turned off for years. I have multiple emails and I check them throughout the day. And sometimes, weekends, I normally don't check them. And they get checked throughout the day, sometimes not on Fridays. And I'm intentional though. I'm intentional. I even turned off notifications on my phone from Facebook because I found that the notifications, they interrupt my day and not in a happy way. And you have control over all of that. So, and maybe, well, yeah, you do have control. I do want to use the word control because, yeah, control's false. And there are certain things we do have control over because it's a choice. You have that happening, and there is a lot more now than there ever was before. So, what were to happen if you were to choose to slow down, create space, and listen? Because this feels uncomfortable for a lot of people. They have to have music playing in the background, they have to have noise of some sort in the background or TV in the background. It's a trauma based response, is what it is. This is why we pack our calendars full because it's a trauma based response. We are avoiding ourselves. We are avoiding something or someone. And everything goes back to healing and your healing journey. because I truly believe it's really difficult to live your purpose and part of your purpose is to enjoy life. And it's really hard to do that and live intentionally when you are constantly packing your calendar full of stuff that you don't really want to do. It's truly a distraction. And where there's distraction, that's not coming from Jesus. It's not a higher path at all. It's a distraction from you living your higher path, from walking and living in the purpose that you have here while you're a human being on this earth. Because even that is limited. Different than your soul. Don't get that confused. If you've seen those pie charts or diagrams showing you how to cut out your day, hey, you've got 8 hours for sleep and you got to work 8 to 5 and you get 1 hour lunch and you need to exercise and you need to do this and you need to do that. How do you feel when you see those things? Are you starting to feel like a failure or does it make you stressed out even more when you think about that? When you think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to find balance? I have to find balance. For me, that feels like a perfectionism energy. Anytime anybody says, got to find balance in my life, or I can show you how to find balance in your life, I laugh because balance does not exist. It flat out does not exist. I used to think that, oh, I have to spend X amount of time writing social media posts. That wasn't doing me any good. It was actually detracting me and distracting me from what I really was supposed to be doing. And I learned a lot from that period of my life. So now that I've shared that balance really doesn't exist, how do you feel now? Do you feel like you've maybe been oh, okay, I'm off the hook now. Carmen says balance doesn't exist. Awesome. Whew. Yes, I feel great now. So now what? So anytime you hear the word balance, it conjures up a certain feeling for you. And it's going to be a different feeling for each person when I say the word balance. So instead of using the word balance, what if we use the word alignment or harmony? I've already mentioned harmony several times. So let's start to play with this word harmony. There's something elegant about the word harmony. Instead of controlling and making things happen, when you finally let go and allow, this is harmony. Harmony allows for alignment to happen. You're no longer forcing things to happen. You're actually moving with the energy, with the universe. There's a reason why I talk about numerology and astrology with purpose, because they're having that information of your personal numerology, especially your life path. That definitely is like a focal point for your purpose, as well as understanding the energies in the universe. Understanding those, it allows you to work with them and go with the flow so that you can live your purpose, live intentionally, enjoy life, and truly live. There's so many people out there not living because they're so busy focused on their calendars and their to-do lists and, oh my gosh, I have to get this done today and I have a deadline, and they're so focused on a work and a schedule and they're so tied to it. By the way, for those who have Apple Watches, not only are they not good for you uh, from an energy standpoint and what it radiates into your body, no one needs that much access to me. Personal opinion. I've never had one. I don't want one. No one needs that much access to me. And those are typically the people who try to do everything. And I purposely say try. And they're most likely not living a truly fulfilled life. They think they are. They're quasi happy, and they're not. There's still that control factor there that It's got to look a certain way. I have to do all of this. It's a perfectionism. It goes back to that perfectionism energy, right? So, harmony and going with the flow is actually the opposite of what we've been taught. We've been taught we must go hustle and do and take action. That is a masculine energy. And the divine feminine, so there's a difference between alpha, beta, divine feminine, divine masculine. When you understand divine feminine, divine masculine, it'll totally rock your world. Anyway, we've been focused on the masculine energy, and really it's more of the coming from ego of go, 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 do. This has to work out. I have to. Yes, to taking action, and because action is necessary. Absolutely, action is necessary. When you take action, the universe meets you tenfold. So, yes, action is necessary, and clarity and goals are necessary. They're a compass. And when you're going with the flow instead of forcing situations, you're really harmonizing your actions. This is truly where your power lies. This is that divine feminine energy where your power lies. And it's something that a lot of people don't want us to know, which is why we've been taught what we've been taught. So the next time you find yourself forcing something to happen, ask yourself, how can I find harmony in this situation? How can I create a win-win? When you start to truly understand what a win-win is versus a win-lose, how can you truly create a win-win for you and for that other person? By the way, that is totally different than compromise. I'm happy to do a podcast about that if you'd like. Just ask yourself, how can I find harmony in this situation? Start to ask those questions and work with the universe and allow the universe to answer it for you. Again, that's harmony in and of itself, because that's letting go and allowing. After all, harmony is the flow of life. As always, you are welcome to join the free online community. You will start to notice some changes in there where we can chat amongst ourselves, which we weren't able to do before. Very excited to truly connect with you in there. Learn what is it that you need? Where are you along your journey, your spiritual journey? Understanding your purpose, living intentionally, and how can we support you during this time, along with weekly celebrations. So we will see you in there. Until next time, sending you much love.